like at some point in time, I think I'm gonna vote. You know, I don't think that I have to do it now. It's not really gonna do anything now. It's not about taking my politics and moving from this location. So yeah, I want to move from this location. And you know, I felt like I was being pressured to vote, and then maybe these sort of focus group kind of like I mean, you have to admit that there's that PR firms and things, and they kind of know that a lot of people don't want to do all the reading into the ballot and everything, so you would let your sister or your mother give you a selection of things she's gonna mark off for you, like vote for this bill, vote this way, vote that way. So I'm like, nah, I'm gonna get me an education, and I'm gonna get some land, and I'm close to both of those, you know. Of course, education, you're always going to be a student. I figured out that if you explain something, you make it no longer plain. If you get a master, if you're a master, then you're basically not a student anymore. Like if you're an expert, it's like expertinent. Of course, you know that any field that you go into, it might become obsolete. You know, so you just have to be like always on the verge, on the verve, and it's like really an impossible task. So I just figured I'd rather just have some land. This sounds ridiculous, but then that might change my mind about voting, you know, even becoming a judge, you know, like, because you know, if you're supporting a microeconomy, then you're kind of already a judge, you know. And it's just, you know, it starts with bushcraft, you know, so land, then you know, off the grid, bushcraft, and demonstrating how one thing leads to another. And you have to set up your own financial institution, just like the NSA did, and using their technology, the blockchain. And then you need to do things for security, all security. How can I improve my security? Security. Security. And then you know, so I kind of feel like maybe that kind of tied to my emotions a little bit is this: how can I be employed to vote? Like, and it's not supernatural, you know what I mean? It's like, but people do sort of like have it. There's a difference here, okay? I'll point one out for you. Semiagog's channel, it's Ollie and Tim Rudisall. Tim Rudisall says you gotta have some skin in the game to vote. You have to be a landowner, like, to be a judge, right? And the Ralph Retort and a lot of other channels are like, it doesn't matter where you live, go out and vote. Now, you know, he didn't trigger me or anything when he said that. I was triggered by something else, and it may or may not even be a thing, you know, because I'm just supposing that there's ongoing communication between certain people, and that puts unnatural restraints on the flow of life. So I can't, you know, go off of that, you know, or unless I want to get to the Mars colony. But they have a different opinion, and they're both like maybe what's the intention? Maybe is to be encouraging. Maybe some people are having an existential meltdown and they feel undervalued. Then by all means, go out and vote. But the thing about the tactics of the left was in pooling together star power, celebrity power. It's a thing for me because I've noticed the uses of celebrity power and coming up with cover-ups. They get together and they, instead of having a public discourse and reporting the news, they do a brief, they skim, they rush through, and then they make a movie. And then that movie is like bust downs, and it gets metered out to all these other little projects. And then you go back to the original project and you realize it was just dial-a-thong. The actors don't necessarily have to even be culpable. I learned that from the Random Rights of Ryan Dramagate thing with LTV, the Lift the Veil. Right? So if I say James Earl Jones, Morgan Freeman, and James Belushi, and this other well-liked actor were involved in a B-movie cover-up for the pharmaceutical industry and the military-industrial complex and the Centers for Disease Control. And that makes sense because it's evident that the Ku Klux Klan was the black sheep for a string of murders that was attributed to a serial killer with a high success rate that you would just never imagine, who also clickbaited the Christian sensibility of separation from the right hemisphere of your brain by punching out the left eye of these of their victims, and then left eye from TLC comes out of the same area where the emblematic of the sports with the ring that goes through another ring 7 times, and the Falcons and the Falcon and the Hawks, which is the top of the totem pole in zoo. What do you call those? Something starts with zoo. I forget. Zoo something. It just relates energy that's coming from the east and rising in the west, like the Shekinah, or like the temple of in Angkor Wat's, the monolithic sites where the gods are pointing west. Something about Benjamin Franklin. I just can't find that anymore. So I don't have access to resources to be able to enumerate that. Like, there's just a few interesting things, and then again, it's the spiritual science community is kind of like, I kind of don't trust it. It's like it has its purpose and it has its impression that it's made, and it has its useful implements in conceptualizing, and then it has these wingnuts that turn out to have these crazy ass histories. Crazy histories. I mean, I kind of have a crazy history, but it's not debauchery to the extent. It's not like depravity. It's more like like hysterics or theatrics. Like little Jonathan shit. Everybody is kind of exercising their own little Jonathan. Because he's, it's this shady baby. Like, he needs to take himself out in the world. That's all it is. So it's also the liberal arts trying to achieve autonomy. lack of need of anything, right? From another person, not just your mother, but from another human. And you're not an adult until you're completely socially responsible and need for nothing from another individual. It's like the Kabbalah. Yeah. I'm everywhere right now, huh? When I'm on video, I'm just going everywhere. Anyways, fucking don't try to encourage me to vote, because I ran through this already. I'm gonna get land, and then I'm gonna vote, and that's just the way I'm gonna do it. Like, I kind of wanted to vote. I would have supported Trump if I had the choice, if I have to. I have the choice not to. I have the choice to vote one or the other way. But, I mean, if it came down to it, I would vote for Trump in California where it doesn't matter, or in a county in California where it doesn't matter. But I don't even need to vote for Trump, you know. He's a symbol, you know. Hillary's a symbol. It's the elephant and the donkey, and or the wild card, the jester, the joker, but anyways, it's the Mars energy. That's why I think Hillary was on some fucking Mardukian fucking spirit cooking shit. You know, they were, I don't know how you say. She said something about having a penance and everything. You're trying to indicate where their loyalties are. They're trying to indicate who. You know, all the different ways that you can say that. It doesn't really have to mean a penance. It doesn't have to mean that you fly a kite with a string and silk and a key during thunderstorms, you know. Oh, that's the thing. Benjamin Franklin, the metal in high places is the key to the grid. Also, iron particulates in the air is the reason why you see a prism. Color is reverberation. Light slows down to make sound, slows down to make matter, slows down to make aroma. They're all traveling out on a wave pattern. And when something is finally dispensated in the air, it would have different functions. Like, they think that the monooxidase gold in the air was you know, like you have powder gold and everything. This gets, like, it's so malleable that it can kind of, you know, be totally dispensated and even become suspendable, as heavy as it is, you know, its density. Where this is going, that goes into some Zachariah Sitchin type of Enochian, like, you know who else is on some Enochian shit? The MI6 and Princeton and all them, the Aleister Crowley. They were trying to contact Lamb, and Lamb was a alias of Iwas, and he dipped back into the set and nobody could find him. Then he got caught by Mussolini and questioned, or Aleister Crowley was Enoch is from the Sumerian, and also in the Emerald tablets, like, it's Inke, and it's trying to open portals. They were trying to access portals with symbols from the Alpha State, I guess then this is the way. The reason I'm making this video is because I'm nervous about the information on YouTube being taken away, changed, used for a different purpose, or all these things. Saying declared harmful. This information is declared harmful. Let's remove it. All right. Then it might change their mind. You know that they change their mind a lot, right? Actually, before you had a law and before you had a law, before you had Allah and before you had a law, there was already a lot. Did I tell you that one already? Allah was a Sumerian mother goddess deity from which you get Al. And Al is elder. Elders, Al. And then in the names that people have over there, it's like Al and Ben Al. I think what is Ben? I don't know. I just don't know a lot of shit. I'm gonna just be like, there's just so much I fucking don't know.